Hello and welcome to The Bridge, the TV show that features happenings around the Woodbridge Township School District. I'm your host, Darren Soretto. In this episode, we are pleased to feature social emotional learning. In the studio today, we have the district's Director of Special Services, Ms. Julie Baer, to talk about the concept and importance of social emotional learning. Our feature will take us to Lafayette Estate School to learn how the counseling department is fostering communication between students as well as between schools. In sports, we have some elementary school students who are finding their own niche and expressing themselves with unique sports. Finally, our music segment will feature Allison Baldwin, an accomplished young vocalist from Avenel Middle School. It's a full show. Let's take a quick break, but come right back for our interview with Miss Julie Baer. Now, before we welcome our first guest, let's take a look at the artwork we're featuring here on our set. Our first piece was submitted by art teacher Rosemary Singlewich and was created by 11th grade artist Danielle Pereira, titled Pain. This piece was created as part of a Vessel for the Intangible project, where students created a container that represents something you cannot actually hold in your hand. Students learned the double pinch pot method of construction and engaged in higher order cognition to develop the concepts for their projects. Notice the contrast between the contoured surface with natural colors and the industrial colors and sharp lines of the nails. This is a powerful piece. The second art piece featured today is submitted by art teacher Danielle Tobia from the G&T program and was created by Alexis Cabrera, a 7th grade artist from Island Middle School. Notice the use of a scribble technique that seems to express confusion as well as the intense emotions of the figure. The position of the figure, gray color scheme, and shading also suggest an expression of despair. After observing these works of art, I'm reminded of the importance of transforming our inner struggles into expressive creativity. Powerful work, Danielle and Alexis. Remember, be creative and submit your own artwork to The Bridge through your art teacher. Your work could be featured on our next episode. Now, let's welcome Director of Special Services, Julie Baer. Welcome, Julie. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad to have you here on the show.
It's great to be here.
Yeah. So why don't you start by telling us about your experience in education and how you came to your current position and the scope of your current job?
Okay, well, I started my career as a special education teacher, and then I came to Woodbridge about 22 years ago as the supervisor of special ed programs, and then got promoted up to director. Since that time, my job has evolved and changed a bit. I no longer just handle special education, but really any student struggling for any particular reason whatsoever would fall under my domain.
Okay, great. Well, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you.
In the district. And so on this episode, we're talking about social emotional learning and why it's so important today. Could you kind of tell us a little bit about what is social emotional learning?
So social emotional learning is just what it says, how to regulate your emotions, how to alleviate stress, how to understand your feelings and regulate those so that you can make sound decisions, and then how to interact socially in a way that expresses yourself without infringing upon the rights of others.
Okay, great. And so some of the components would be like to recognize the emotion, is that?
To recognize the emotion and know how to handle it, how to react to it, to understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and how you move on to make sound choices.
Right. And to see that in others as well, like compassion.
Yes, empathy is huge, anger management, how to express yourself, because we want students to be able to use their voice and say what's going on with them, and to be able to interact in the community socially and in a positive, respectful way.
Absolutely. And why do you think it's such currently a relevant topic today?
Well, I think we've always taught some of these topics in school. We used to call it character ed.
Yes.
I think it's relevant today because students are under a lot more pressure today than they were. And because schools mirror society, there is a lot of political unrest, there's a lot of social unrest, and that's bleeding into our schools. So we're trying to teach our students how to navigate a complicated world and how to react to others in a way that doesn't harm themselves or anybody else.
Yeah, and do you think, obviously the pandemic had a big effect on our children, on our adults? And,
yes.
But was this in place before that?
We had started working on a curriculum. We had formed a committee prior to the pandemic. And then when the pandemic hit, we realized that we couldn't wait. So we put into place check-ins where teachers and counselors were required to check in with every student. They were required to say every student's name over the computer so that we knew if a student was struggling in any way, and then we could get them the resources that they needed. So the idea was teachers check in with each student and the student have a voice to tell us if they were struggling or feeling isolated at home.
That's great. So Woodbridge has been addressing this. And when the pandemic did come, I remember when I was teaching the classroom over the internet, through Zoom, we made sure we checked in with the kids. We made sure that they were doing okay every day, and asked them how they were feeling that day. So is this something that you think was important to do?
I think it was vitally important because the students needed to know that they were seen and being heard during that time. It was difficult because we've all experienced the Zoom calls, and it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to lose focus. So it was important that the students knew their teachers were there for them and that they saw them, recognized them, and were happy to see them each day, so that they could do the work online.
Sure. And then when they came back, I remember, the students were wearing masks, the teachers were wearing masks. It was difficult to, at least for me, it was difficult to see emotions of the students. You just see their eyes, and they just see our eyes. Do you think that affected them in some way? Or?
Absolutely, absolutely. It affected all of us. And it made it very difficult to have that human connection that we all need. So when we did come back from the pandemic, we put a curriculum, K through 12 curriculum in place to address some of these concerns and to help the students navigate the new world that they were in.
That's great. And what is the name of the program, and how's it going?
It's Rethink. It's the Rethink social emotional learning tool. And like I said, it's K through 12. And students watch various videos and then do activities and lessons that correspond to whatever topic they're discussing. So the topics may be about emotions, our own emotions, or they may be about how we communicate with others.
Sure. And what's the feedback how's the feedback been on that program so far?
Well, really good.
Good.
Teachers seem to like it. It's very user-friendly. We've tweaked it a couple times because we did ask our high schoolers how they felt about it. So we made some changes for them. What's nice about the program is, although we gave teachers a scope and sequence for the curriculum, we also allowed them to go out of order in the lessons. So if there was a particular topic that was affecting their class, they could address it prior to it coming up in the curriculum. And teachers also had the option of going above or below grade level on any topic.
That's important to adjust.
So that's important so that everybody's needs are met.
Wonderful. So what are some techniques that are being used in the classroom, aside from the program, or simple techniques that teachers can use, and even parents at home?
Well, since a lot of our students are struggling with anxiety, we do a lot of breathing techniques with our students. We work on bringing them back into the moment. So, an example would be I might ask you to name 5 things you can see in this room or 5 things you can hear in this room, just to bring you back to the moment so you don't get lost in your own thoughts, as we all do. We have different stress balls and bouncy bands so that students are allowed movement. It's very hard for some of our students to sit as long as they need to sit.
Sure. So taking a walk is important.
Taking a walk, absolutely. Little things that teachers can do. Giving a student a job that requires them to walk down the hall might be the break that that particular student needs.
Sure.
So we do have gadgets and gizmos and
I've used many of them.
all sorts of things to help the students keep calm and keep their anxiety in check.
And simple tools like I had mentioned to you before, a breathing ball, like a sphere that kind of opens and closes like our breathing. And you had mentioned a worry box to me, right?
Worry boxes are big. The idea being that when a student comes into class, they can put their worries in the box and not have to carry them all day, and then they can pick up their worry on their way out.
Great.
So even with the little ones, with the younger classes, we've been using picture prompts.
Great.
So if you're worried about mommy, there's a picture of mommy, and you can put mommy in the worry box and pick up mommy on your way out.
I love that.
So they're just not carrying their fears and their worries all day long.
Letting go. That's great. And I think you'd agree that teachers and parents need to be role models for the children as well, right? We need to be able to be in charge of our own emotions so that they see that.
Absolutely. I say this to teachers all the time. Your classroom is a mirror of yourself. So if you're coming in anxious or if you're having a bad day, often you'll see the students acting out in the same way. So the calmer, more collected, more organized you are, the calmer, more organized your class will be.
Absolutely. That's great. And then quickly, how do you see social emotional learning in the future? Can the curriculum be improved for that? Is there anything that the district is doing to improve that?
Yeah, we are expanding on the curriculum. I think all of these concepts are important for every student, regardless of their age or their level. These are skills they can carry with them into the future.
Sure.
And the district is very invested in this. They just hired a supervisor who's going to take over the counselors and the SEL program. And the district has hired more counselors since the pandemic every year to ensure that these needs are being met and the students have resources that they can turn to.
That's wonderful. Well, Julie, it was so nice talking to you today. We thank you for the valuable work that you do here in Woodbridge Township.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
It's always a pleasure.
We have to take a short break, but when we come back, we are going to Lafayette Estate School to see for ourselves how social emotional learning is implemented in our schools. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thanks for coming back to the Bridge. Now it's time for our school feature, and we're tossing over to our student correspondent, Rachel Sarang from Colonia High School, who is on site at Lafayette Estate School.
Thank you, Mr. Soretto. This is Rachel Sarang from Colonia High School, and I'm here with Mrs. Saeed from School 25 and Mrs. Hayes from School 14 to talk about the counseling department and what they're doing to foster social emotional learning. Hi, Mrs. Saeed.
Hi, Rachel.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So this is my second year here as a school counselor at Lafayette Estates. Prior to becoming a school counselor, I was a special education teacher and I taught for about 14 years.
And Mrs. Hayes, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I too am a school counselor for School 14, and this is my second year as well. And I was a special education teacher for 10 years.
That's great. Mrs. Saeed, what are you doing at School 25 in the area of social emotional learning?
We try to support social emotional learning here at School 25 in many different ways. My school counseling program consists of classroom lessons, individual counseling, and lots of group counseling, which is one of my favorite things to do here.
So, what is the purpose of the small groups that you do?
So the purpose of small groups is to address common concerns and issues that students are facing, to promote positive interactions with one another, and just to have a lot of fun.
That's great. How often do they meet?
My small groups run once a week for about 30 minutes for a duration of 6 to 8 weeks.
And how do you determine the makeup of each group?
So I generally take teacher referrals and parent concerns. I also look at student needs within our school community.
And how do these small groups help the students?
I think small groups give them the confidence and the skills that they need to be able to apply them in different situations. They also find it very meaningful to make connections with other students that are facing similar challenges.
And in which way do these small groups affect the school's culture?
I think when they take what they learn from groups and they apply it with their friends and peers, and they're able to handle situations in a positive way.
And how many students are in each group?
I like to keep it no more than 8 students, so generally 6 to 8 students.
And what are some small topics that these groups cover?
We cover lots of different topics, friendship, social skills, emotion regulation, all various types of topics that cover social emotional learning.
Great. Could we meet some of your students that participate in the small groups?
Sure.
Hi guys, my name is Rachel. I know that you guys are in a small group with Mrs. Saeed. How do you guys feel about being in the group? Yeah, we can go to you first.
I feel like very thankful because Mrs. Saeed allowed us to be in this group together, and she trusted us so that we can like keep secrets and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it made me feel very thankful.
Oh, that's great. What about you?
Really good because I never expected that this was gonna happen, and I made a lot of new friends and I got to meet everybody, and yeah.
That's so great. Okay, so what are some of you guys' like most memorable moments being in the group together? Yep.
On the last day, we get to share our talents, and we get to have like a lot of fun, and we knew all the talents, so we had like all fun together.
That's so great. What about you?
Like when we would always come in here and share buns and brags. Mm-hmm. And when all of us will like color together and talk and make friends.
Mm-hmm. And what are some like friendships that you guys have created? You guys think you guys are closer together, or what do you guys think? Yeah.
I think now we're closer than before because now we know all about each other, and we can now like go up to the person and say, "Hi, Brianna." Like we don't know, we don't have to say, "Hi, what's your name?" We actually know what their name is.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
It was good because when like every day when we walked in, we saw each other, we would talk, we would get to know each other. So it just made us get closer and be best friends.
Oh, that's sweet. And what are some things that you guys learned in the group that you kind of like use in your classrooms or like outside of school? Yeah?
We learned like always talk positive and never talk negative, because that's just gonna make you more sad, and being positive is gonna make you happy and never give up.
Mm-hmm. Like Mrs. Saeed taught us how like if let's say we have a test, we can like, "I got this," instead of saying, "Oh no, I don't know about this." And eventually you'll like warm up to it, and then you get 100 and and other stuff.
That's so great. How do you guys feel about Miss Saeed? All together.
She's a great counselor.
Yeah,
She's very nice.
yeah, she is very giving and sweet, and I'm thankful to have her as our guidance counselor.
And who else?
She's she's an amazing person. She always talks to everybody with kindness. She cheers us up when we're sad, and she's such a good person. She's really beautiful, and I love how sweet she talks to us.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. I had so much fun talking to you guys. In addition to the small groups that you have in School 25, I understand that you and Miss Hayes have been working together. Can you explain and elaborate that for me?
Yeah, so we had learned that of the possibility of my school closing and us moving over to School 25. So when we got word of that, we both thought that it'd be a good idea to just start fostering relationships between the two schools to help alleviate some of the stress and anxiety that was being felt within our parents, our staff, and our students.
So what are you guys hoping to accomplish?
We're hoping to accomplish cultivating relationships between our students and staff, familiarizing them with the building, and just promoting friendship so when they do come in next year, there's at least a familiar face when they walk through the doors.
And what kind of activities do you guys plan?
Well, we started off with pen pal writing. We were able to get classes connected through pen pal writing, and then we
organized having the students come over for a meet and greet where Miss Saeed and I did activities, icebreakers, and they had to work together in solving problems. So it was a bunch of different small activities in different types of scenarios to get them to work all together.
and to get to know one another.
Do you think other schools can implement the same programs?
Absolutely. I think anything promoting community building can be a success for any school program.
Thank you guys so much for answering my questions. It's been wonderful learning about SEL here at School 25 and along with School 14. Back to you in the studio, Mr. Soretto.
Great job, Rachel. It's wonderful to see students making such important connections and learning about themselves and each other. We have to take a quick break, but come right back to learn about some unique sports. Thanks for coming back to the bridge, just in time for sports. Now, everyone knows the major sports in our schools, like soccer, softball, basketball, cheer, and many others. Many of them have been featured right here on the bridge. But what if those sports are not for you? Our student sports correspondent, Dylan DeCuna from Colonia High School, is on a mission to learn about the unique and unusual sports that some Woodbridge Township Elementary School students are involved in. Over to you, Dylan.
Thanks, Mr. Soretto. I'm Dylan DeCuna, and I'm here with Tasia Botino of Lafayette Estates School, who is a competitive inline skater. Hi, Tasia. How are you doing?
I'm good.
All right. So, how did you get into competitive inline skating?
So my dad saw a flyer with skating lessons, and he signed me up, and I said okay, and then we started skating.
That's really cool. Where do you practice?
I practice at the Woodbridge Community Center for indoors and New Brunswick for outdoors, and I practice 3 times a week.
Oh, wow. For how long do you practice?
On the weekends, it's 2 hours, and on weekdays, it's 1 hour and a half.
That's a lot of practicing. Do you compete with a team or by yourself?
For relays, it depends because you might be with your teammate, and in racing, it also depends because you might be alone or with a teammate.
Do you travel for any of your competitions?
Yes.
So where are some places you've traveled?
Nebraska, Maryland, Virginia, Massachusetts, Florida, Kentucky, and that's it.
How old were you when you first started inline skating?
8 years old.
How old are you now?
10.
Wow, so you've been skating for 2 years?
And this is my 3rd year.
Oh, wow, that's really cool, Tasia. Are there any special rules involved in inline skating?
Yes, for relays, you gotta push your partner going out of the corner, and you can't, like, there's two cones, and you gotta go in between, like it's a box. And you have to stay in the box area, and if you cross the line, you can't go back in, and if you go back in, you're disqualified.
Oh wow, that sounds hard. Do you have any goals that you hope to achieve in the future?
I hope to go to nationals and win.
Where's the nationals?
Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Can you show us some of your equipment here?
So this is my skate. These are honey badgers. These are indoor wheels, and online they're sold out like in 7 minutes. So
oh wow,
it's
really?
really hard to get them.
Are some skates better than other skates?
Depends if you like skates more than other ones.
I see you have some awards here. Do you want to show us what they are and explain what they are?
Yeah, so this one was at the Virginia. It was Blue Ride Challenge. It was like 12 laps. The track was 100 meters, so we had to do 12 laps, and I came in first place. No, we were lined up in the line, so you had to pull a card, and a red ace was the highest, so you were the first. A black ace is the lowest, so you were last.
Oh, wow. Do you want to show off the other ones?
Yeah. This was also the Virginia one. It was also the Blue Ride Challenge. Again, 12 laps. And the same thing. So it was, the competition was 2 days, so each day they did one. And there was also a money prize.
Oh, wow. I see a lot of first place medals. You must be really good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tazia, for teaching us about competitive inline skating, and best of luck in your sport. Now, just give me a second to run over to Oak Tree Road School to meet some travel cricket players. Now I'm here at School 29 with Aditya and Samarth Shah. They are twins who are travel cricket players. Hi, guys.
Hello.
So who's Aditya?
Me.
So you must be Samar.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
So how old were you guys when you first started playing cricket?
We were about 4 to 5 years old.
Oh, wow. And how old are you guys now?
10.
So you guys have been playing for 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
Wow. So how were you guys first introduced to cricket?
My dad, he played in university and college, and then when we grew up a little bit, he started us teaching cricket.
Oh, wow. Where did your dad go to university?
He was in India. He played in India, and then when he came here, he started to study in college, and then he played some here too.
Oh, wow. Very, very cool. So do you guys like being able to play with your twin?
Yeah, I think it's a good experience. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses, so in the match we can play accordingly.
So you would say that playing with your twin gives you an advantage?
Yeah, definitely.
So where are some places that you guys have traveled to play?
We went to Atlanta, Florida. Not Florida. California, Maryland, Texas.
So what is some equipment that you guys need to play cricket?
You need shin guard, thigh guards, arm guard, chest guard, gloves, and helmet.
Very, very cool. So are there positions in cricket?
Yes. In baseball, if you see there's a catcher, there's like that, and there's called a wicket keeper behind the stumps. There are 2 batters. One is called a striker, that is like gonna face the first ball, and the other one is non-striker. There's a bowler who bowls the ball to them, and then there's fielders. So the fielders like who catch the ball, and they throw the ball at the stumps, different ways to try getting your opponent out.
So what positions do you guys play?
I play, I'm an all-rounder, meaning I bowl the first over, and I bat 1, 2, or 3 down. I go a wicket keeper, as I said, behind the stumps, and I go opening batsman, which is when the first pair that goes batting.
So what are some challenges that you guys face while playing these positions?
I know that as if I was playing, there's been lots of tough chases. They've scored a high amount of runs, which I had to chase, and it was pretty difficult, but we have to manage to get that. And also, as a fielder, if someone hits it really hard, it's either you let your team down or you go for it and try to get the out. So it's yeah.
You guys really seem to value sportsmanship.
Yeah.
So how does someone get involved in a travel cricket team?
It's when like they see by skill wise how good you are, and if you show a good attitude, if you're respectful for your opponent, and you play good.
And my last question for you guys is, how does your sport help you emotionally?
It helps me emotionally because like if I'm angry, like I let my team down or something, and like also if I'm like in batting and like you weren't able to win the team for your team, then it gets like stressing me out or get me angry. For me, emotionally, if I'm angry, I can express my anger inside the game without doing anything harmful to other people. I just play my game.
Well, thank you guys so much for teaching us about your unique sport. It's been fun learning about cricket. And back to you in the studio, Mr. Soretto.
Great interviews, Dylan. I'm so impressed that these students are doing something unique to them and really finding their niche in sport. Now, we have to take a quick break, but come right back to meet an amazing vocalist, Allison Baldwin. Welcome back to The Bridge. I'm your host, Darren Soretto, here with 7th grader Allison Baldwin. Allison, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. How has your school year been going?
Pretty good.
Good. It's so good to have you here. So Allison, when did you first become interested in music?
I feel as if I've always been interested in music. My mom has videos of me singing from when I was a toddler.
Really? That small? Oh, that's wonderful. And what kind of music were you singing as a toddler?
Mostly pop, some alternative.
It's whatever's on the radio?
Yeah.
That's so cool. So tell me, who's your favorite artist or band now?
My favorite artist is Ariana Grande. I mostly listen to her or The Weeknd.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Now, Allison, what music teachers influenced you in school? Who was a music teacher that influenced you?
My elementary school music teacher, Mrs. Misak,
Mm-hmm.
she liked my voice and nominated me to be in G&T.
Okay.
Her having so much faith gave me more confidence to keep singing and gave me more confidence to sing in front of other people. But Miss Law has made it so much more fun than it already is and taught me so much more.
And Mrs. La is your teacher in
Yes,
G&T?
My G&T teacher.
And she's here now. You want to give her a wave? Awesome. It's so important to have that confidence, and you get that from your teachers and your parents, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. So I want to ask you, how does music affect or help you?
Whenever I'm feeling a certain emotion, I'll just plug in some earbuds and listen to my playlist.
Yeah, to pick you up and when you're down.
Yep.
Yeah, music has that way of doing that, right? I love it. That's great. Allison, what do you want to do in the future?
There are so many avenues that I'd like to explore, from environmental law to a Broadway stage crew, but I'll always be singing.
Always be singing, no matter what. That's great. And why environmental law? Is that important to you?
I've always loved the environment. I feel it's necessary to survive, and nature's just so beautiful, and
yeah,
we deserve to have that around.
Absolutely, and that goes hand in hand with music, right? The arts, and that's wonderful. And theater, you said, would you like to sing in theater one day? Or?
Yes, that's one of my interests actually. I do theater camp over the summer, so I'm in plays and I sing.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. And in addition to music, what other activities do you like to do?
I cheer for the Woodbridge Golden Saints.
Okay.
I cheer for my basketball team at my school. I also do competitive cheer, and I'm also a Girl Scout.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. And I'm sure you use your voice to encourage and to lift others up. That's wonderful. Now, I heard you have a big concert coming up. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
On June 17th, June 18th, I will be performing at Carnegie Hall with middle schoolers from around the world. It's in New York City.
Okay.
I'll be spending from Wednesday to Sunday afternoon, almost a whole week in New York City, rehearsing and sightseeing all of the city.
What an experience. A big stage like Carnegie Hall. Are you excited? Are you nervous?
I'm really excited.
Oh my gosh. And then you get to meet children from around the world, right? Are you going to, you said, I think you mentioned before, you're going to be spending time or rooming with one student from another country, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's so exciting. What a great experience. And how did you get chosen for that? How did that work?
My G&T teacher, Miss Law, she nominated me, and then I had to send in some audition tapes.
Okay.
I waited about 2 months till I got my news back. Around March, my parents told me that I had gotten in, and I was like, oh, yay.
That's amazing. And that is just amazing. I'm so happy for you. And I know you're going to do an amazing job there.
Thank you.
And you're going to be great. Well, Allison, it was so great to meet you. And since you're here, would you mind singing a song for us?
Yes.
Now, what song would you like to sing for us?
I'm singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz.
And do we need any instruments or how's?
No, I'm singing a cappella.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait to hear it. Let's hear that song, okay?
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, I can't
Allison, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
You were right. No other instruments were needed but your voice. Keep letting your voice bring joy to others. Thank you so much for sharing your talents today. And thank you for watching. I'm Darren Soretto, wrapping up this episode of The Bridge. I hope your skies are blue, and I hope you'll join us next time. Take care.